What's good, people? We back with another video today on the channel, and today I kind of wanted to keep this one personal. This one is about the time that my father had passed. The craziest night I had in my life, man. I never really told this story because for years it's been kind of personal, and you know, by now everybody knows, man, Pastor Stephen Darby is my father, and back in 2017 he had passed away. I never really got on the channel and said much about it. I kind of kept to myself a lot with this story because I figured that everybody pretty much knew, and you know, I didn't really want to get into the specifics or the details of it because, you know, it ain't nobody's business. But this had a big impact on my life. You feel me? You know, losing a parent is something that's never easy, you know, and especially when it's a father, man, you know, because it's really rare to have some of those in the black community, man. And I was fortunate enough to have mine. And knowing the man that Pastor Darby was, man, it's just, it was almost like losing part of yourself, losing part of your life. You feel me? It was just like any ordinary day, man, back in December 8th, 2017. And the craziest part is I don't even remember really the last thing I said to him. I don't know if it was the night before or the night before that while I checked up on him. I think I asked him, did he need anything or whatever. And during that time, I was going through my own little phase. You feel me? I was kind of like, you know, like I said, I was running from my own calling. I was trying to go do something else with my life. I was trying to get my little chump change and figure out stuff for myself. You feel me? I was a very self-centered individual at that time. You know, I couldn't really see the bigger picture ahead. And I noticed around that time, man, that was when I was working with my daddy, man, and my brother out at the land doing construction and carpentry. And I hated it. Worst job I ever had, man, because like I said, I love my daddy, but if you work with him, he was the worst boss you could work for. That man was reckless. Just with the way he talked, and like I said, man, he was just like, I'm not saying he was like nasty, but he was just, sometimes he could be critical. And I got to a point where I was like, Daddy, we ain't five no more, man. I said, I will up and quit on you. I said, if you gonna talk to us like we stupid or like we don't know what we doing, I said, you can hire the Mexicans. You can hire somebody out here that know what they doing. Cause I'm like, I'm not 20 years advanced on a job like you. So I don't really know how to do exactly what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And he was talking to us like we was experienced. And I'm like, well, if you want to find experienced people, go pay them. I'm like, because I'm out here working for you. You feel me? So, but it was good times, man. And those were some of the last times I had with him. And I'm glad I had those bonding moments because little did I know right around the corner, man, he was going to be gone. So I remember we didn't go out to work that day. You know, usually he would ask me every day to go do stuff, go run to the store for him or, you know, take care of some business, go get some food or whatever. And I was happy to do it. But, you know, sometimes I'm like, man, I'm tired. I always won't feel like doing stuff. I got a personal life. I had plans with a friend that day, and I was like, I'm about to go to the mall and, you know, just go do me for a little bit. And, you know, I go out to the mall just hanging with my friend and just chilling. Didn't think nothing much of that day. I was just, you know, in my own little zone, in my head and whatever. And so at the time, him and my mama, they owned a country house out in the country in Kentucky. And so they went out there for the day. And I remember I was like, all right, well, cool, you know, whatever. And I think they wanted me to come out there and bring them something at the time. Because I was like, why y'all forget stuff? Y'all was just at the crib, man. Like, I got to go all the way. It's like 45 minutes to an hour away. So I'm like, y'all taking me out of my zone doing what I'm doing. I got to go out here to y'all, you know. But I think it was just like, I think overall they was like, nah, sorry, don't worry about it. And so I remember I pretty much stayed out the whole entire day. So keep in mind, I didn't go check up on him. I didn't see him. I didn't talk to him. I didn't even know that was going to be the last time I ever was going to see him alive. I talked to him. And I just remember later on that night, I don't really remember what time, but I was inside of H&M at that mall. And I get a call on my phone. And I'm like, it's my mama calling me. And I'm like, what does she want? Like, what they calling me for? I'm like, they probably want me to come right back out there like they said earlier. You feel me? And so I answer the phone, and it sounds like somebody is laughing. It's like all this commotion going. It's just this noise, and it sounds like somebody's laughing and, you know, just making this chatter sound. You feel me? And so I'm like, hello? And I said, I'm like, hello? Hello? I'm like, mama, what are you, like, what's going on? And she's like, Steve, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, who is she talking? Like, what does she mean? Is he okay? And I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, mama, what's going on? And she's like, your father, he just passed out. You know, he's laying on the ground and he keeps coming to and passing out. And so I'm thinking it's just, because earlier that year, he was involved in a like a small motor vehicle, like a ATV accident. Like he had fell off the ATV at the land and pretty much had, hit his head and pretty much kind of like knocked himself out. And I guess it was something that was related to that. So that's what I was thinking that it was. You feel me? So I was like, okay, well, I ain't think nothing much of it. I'm like, all right, mama, look, he just, just calm down, give him some water. She was like, call it was somebody that was at our church at the time. She was like, call them, let them know what's going on, and so I'm like, okay, well, so I'm kind of like concerned because I'm like, mama, is everything good? She's like, just call somebody. So I went and called that person, and I told my brother I called them and let them know what was going on. And keep in mind, we didn't know how serious the situation was. We still thinking this is, just, he passed out, you know what I'm saying? So after all of that, I called again and I was just like, what's going on? She was just like, he's not responsive. He's pretty much seizing up. He's coming back too. He's praying and then he's passing out again. And I'm like, what is happening here? It felt like a movie. I'm like, what in the world is happening right now? You feel me? So I remember I go straight home from there and I go to my brother and I tell them exactly what's going on, and we thinking it's nothing much of it. And so I'm like, mama, do we need to come out there? Because I'm like, if we need to come out there, I will be on the way out there right now. She's like, no, it's okay. Don't come out here. Just we getting the ambulance out here. We getting the fire department to come out here and check up on them and see what's wrong. And so I'm like, all right, we won't go. And so I call back and she's just like, it's still not good news. It's not getting no better. So I'm like, no, forget that. I said, man, we're going out there. I'm going out there. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, keep in mind, we about an hour away. So I'm like, nah, man, we're going out there because this is getting serious. And so she's like, pretty much at this time, he's extremely unresponsive. You feel me? And she's like, he pretty much went into, I don't know if it was I don't want to say like a coma, but I guess he was starting to develop starting to be like brain dead, I think. You feel me? Like he just wasn't there. You feel me? His oxygen was getting cut off. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he was seasoned, and then, he pretty much just, I don't know if he had came to right there or what. I don't know, man. And like I said, the whole time she stayed by his side. And although it's a terrible situation, man, like I said, I'm glad that she was there with him, that he didn't die alone. They've been with each other for over 20 years and he died with her. You feel me? And, just the way that it played out, it's like, he could have went in his sleep. He could have happened somewhere we ain't know nothing about it. You feel me? This could have happened while he was driving, and that could have turned into something super terrible. You feel me? So, long story short, we get out there. Or we in the car about to go out that way. You feel me? It's me, my brother, and my sister. And I'm like, okay, surely, because in a couple of days, I think the next week we was getting ready for our Dallas conference. We was about to go to Dallas. So I was excited because somebody I knew there I was about to go see. And I'm like, okay, well, surely nothing can go wrong. And we on our way out there. And it's like, I can remember it clear as day. I remember everything. And that's why I said this is the scariest, freakiest moment, because it's like, it's almost like it had happened yesterday. And I'm like, mama, tell me what's going on. I'm checking on the update because I'm like, well, surely by now there's going to be some good news. Surely by now he done came back. He's good. He's responsive. Because I'm thinking like earlier this year when he was in that little ATV accident, like it's, we got good news after all. So I'm like, okay, well, ain't thinking much of it. And so I called her back and she was relatively calm. And I was like, okay, well, that must be a good sign. And I'm like, I'm on the highway. And I remember I was on the highway by the airport. I don't know how I remember where I was at that time. And I'm driving and I'm just like, mama, tell me what's up. And she was calm, and I was like, and I said, any update? I was like, is it better? Do we still need to come out there? And she was like, no, y'all, it's not no better. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe it ain't that much more worse. You feel me? And she was like, no, Steve, it ain't no better. And then I was like, mama, what do you mean? And I just remember she's like, Steve, your father died. It was the way she said it. And this is words that I was never accustomed to. It was words that I ain't never heard, stuff that I never thought I would hear. And I was like, died? I was like, what you mean died? I was like, are you serious? I was like, what? And I remember I hollered on the phone. I said, what? And she's just like, God, it just don't feel real right now. And she just started breaking down and stuff. And instead of me breaking down, instead of me running off road and just going into a frenzy, it was almost like the real man kicked in. I don't know if it was just what we've been learning lately from him, you know, staying strong, being prayed up, being spiritual. And I remember I come from my mom and I said, nah, mama, we ain't believing in that. I said, mama, listen. I said, mama, calm down. Listen to what I'm telling you. We're not going to believe that. We're going to pray and we're going to figure out what's going on. I said, in the meantime, keep your peace. And so she was like, okay. I said, look, we on our way. I'll call you when we get there. So I get off the phone and I'm just like, keep in mind, like when you're hearing somebody died, you like, what? You still like, what? But I'm like, nah, we're not believing it. So I start praying and I tell my brother and my sister and I'm just like, y'all, I don't even think I really told them that he was gone. I think I was kind of like, y'all, we need to pray like pronto, because I didn't want them to worry and freak out either. So I was like, let's just pray, y'all. And we get out there a little while later. And I remember we rushed right into the hospital. Now keep in mind, I'm not knowing what to expect here. And we get there, man, and like I said, he's just laid out on the table. And it was a shock because I'd never seen him that way. I thought I would never see him that way, you feel me? And just seeing the life gone out of his eyes, the life that was gone from his body. And it was just, it was basically like a dream. Like, this ain't real. Like, this ain't happening, man. You feel me? Like, nah, man. Like, nah, man. This is like, nah. This got to be a test, man. This got to be satire, bro. This got to be fake. You feel me? And I was like, I said, nah, man. I'm not accepting. I'm not believing in that. And so we searching for answers. We like, well, what happened? Like, Lord, what happened? We asking the doctors, like, what could have possibly went wrong that he succumbed to his injuries? You feel me? Or succumbed to whatever was going on with him. And I remember we was like, you know, get in contact, because our older sister, she lived overseas, and we was like, get in contact with her, let her know what's going on. And so I remember I called her and I let her know, and, you know, I didn't want to freak her out because, you know, I don't like delivering bad news. And so I was trying to be relatively as cool as possible. I was like, look, you know, situations going on with Daddy, you know, just pray about it, just try to figure out. She was like, do I need to come? I said, yeah, just come. You need to come back home, you know, figure out how to get back here. You know, because like I said, I'm not trying to tell her that he's gone. I don't want to be the deliverer of bad news. You feel me? And I ain't trying to make people, I don't want to see people break down and freak out. I was handling it relatively well, other than, you know, probably more than they would have. You feel me? And so I was like, look, just come back home. And so she ended up calling a while later. She was like, is there any update? And I was like, look, I'm gonna have to just be honest with you. I was like, look, we don't know if we got to get an autopsy done and figure out. She's like, so he's gone? And I was like, yeah. And she just started breaking down on the phone and stuff. And I told her, I said, listen, now's not the time for us to break down. Now's the time for us to stay strong and prayed up. Now's the time for us to stay dedicated. I said, this is what we trained for. We was doing all of this prayer. We was doing all of this fasting, all of this dedication. I said, this is what this was for. I said, now it's time to start being real. I know it's deep, but we got to stay strong. You feel me? Because there's a bigger task at hand. We're not in our feelings for us. We got to be soldiers and warriors for him. You feel me? And I remember getting off the phone with her, and like I said, we had some other people that came from my church that was out there, and we alerted them and let them know, like, start praying, y'all. You know, we didn't really tell them everything was going on. And so they had came out, and like I said, I remember they was explaining what was kind of going on and what could have possibly happened and whatever. And the biggest shock of events, my younger sister at the time, she was real quiet, never said nothing. She was kind of to herself, but she just started opening her mouth and just started praying. You feel me? She started just praying like this is like a warrior, like this is some 6'2" buff dude just came in the room and just started going off, and she started doing that, and I was like, yo. And so we all joined in, you feel me? And I remember going by my mama and just comforting her, put my hand on her shoulder while we praying. And it was almost like I was walking into that grown man right then and there. I knew what I had to do. This is what my daddy trained me to do. He always said, if something happened to him, I need you to be a man and take over. You become the man. You nurture your mama and take care of your family. And that's what I learned through that. And it's like, I just walk right into that. You feel me? And that's what we started doing, was just praying and staying dedicated and, you know what I'm saying, just searching for answers. We crying out to God, man. I never cried out to God so hard in my life, man. I never cried out to God so hard in my life, dude. And just, it's like that full warrior just came over me. It came over all of us, you feel me? Telling this story is just 6 years, man. It's still there. It's still touching, you feel me? And we prayed for hours, man. Hours. We prayed so loud they had to shut the doors. This is a small hospital out in the country. And so they had to shut the doors and just let us be in there doing our thing. And we stayed prayed up for, man. And I remember the morgue came, and, you know, they take the body away, zip it up in the bag, and give you their condolences, let you know, hey, I'm sorry about everything that happened. You feel me? And we just feeling all types of ways, man. It's all types of mixed emotions. And I'm sitting here looking at him like, he's gone, man. Like, he's really gone. And it's just something that I've dealt with for the longest, man. Like, I can still see it. It's like it happened yesterday. You feel me? Like, it'll never, I don't think it gets better over time, but it never gets officially better, bro. It's still there. It's always gonna be there. You feel me? By the time of this recording, it's going on, it's 6 years. It'll be 7 years this year. And it's still there. And I remember, after all was prayed and done, we went home. Cold. And the drive was long. And I got home and just laid on the couch, man, and had the TV on and just fell asleep, man, because I was so exhausted, man. I was tired. That was the first time I wept in like 10 years. I didn't cry in like 10 years, man. And that was the first time that I just bawled. You feel me? Woke up the next morning and it was like, bro, this still feel like a dream, dog. It still don't feel real. Woke up to messages on my phone. People somehow heard about it and found out. The whole city found out. And I'm like, dude, this is within a couple of hours. I'm like, how do you know? We just found out. Like, how do y'all know? And I remember I was like, I'm not even in the mood to really even be on my phone, to respond to anybody, to really entertain none of that. And later that day, we had a church announcement. And a lot of people didn't know yet. And when we announced that he didn't make it, you know, it's chaotic, dude. People was screaming, crying. One brother got up, he's, oh my God, just walked out. But we still decided to pray. like some warrior came over us, man. We were some warriors. We prayed for, I think, a good 2 hours. You feel me? And we prayed every day. Every day. Hardest I ever prayed in my life, man. And that very next day, man, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know what to expect, what kind of service we was going to have. It was a Sunday. And I remember my homeboy hit me up, and he was like, man, are y'all here? They was people that used to go to our church, and they found us. Oh, my God, are y'all good? They was like, dude, we found out. We was like, and I said, man, we good, man, because we was staying in faith. We was believing in resurrection, man. Talk about power, you wouldn't believe, dude. Like, I didn't know how that church service was gonna go because we wasn't used to having a service without him being over it. And we did our worship, we played, did our worship, our prayer, and in the midst of me still doing the worship, my brother got up. He said a couple of words. More like a lot of words. And what we was believing for, man, what we was doing. I mean, man, if you could have been there. I didn't know the story was gonna be that powerful, man. Man, we prayed, dude. We was real. And we all got up one up by one. Staying faithful and dedicated to what we was doing. We knew we was warriors, man. We knew what we was doing, what we had a call for, man. We did another 2-hour prayer, man. The whole service, all we did was pray. After all was said and done, we prayed some more. Every day, we had prayer. We had our own personal times. You take an hour when we get home. You take an hour of prayer. I'll take an hour. You take an hour. It was a consistent chain of praying, man. Of faith. I ain't never did nothing like that in my life, dude. Never did nothing like that in my life. Our faith was there, man. I know for a fact, 110,000% God heard us, man. I knew he heard us. It was so powerful, man. Later that night, that Sunday, after we got done playing and we got done praying, we got done with church, I went home. And that night, I remember I was going to bed. I was laying on the couch with the TV on. And it was almost like it's like I was fading. Like I was just fading in and out of sleep. And I felt myself still in service. I felt that anointing, man. I felt the still praying stuff. And I would wake up, I would jump up, and it was almost like you see out of a movie, like when they in that zone, and it's like they wake up. Like that's what it was like. And it kept happening the whole entire night, you feel me? And I was like, man, what is this? I was like, what is that? We prayed so hard, man, we broke heaven, dude. We broke heaven. And that's what I'm saying. You can't tell me that the power ain't real. And even though in the end, like I said, he didn't come back. Didn't mean that it failed. It didn't mean that God didn't hear us. Maybe that was God's purpose and his destiny for him not to come back. And the crazy part about it, the Sunday before he had passed, he preached a message. It was almost like it was almost like he knew. Almost like he knew this was gonna happen. I'll probably have to find a message to tag it, man, but his final message, dude. We buried him. I think it was that Friday or Saturday. I can't really remember. But before that, we seen him at the morgue. We did some more praying. His body was turning gray. Life was all the way sucked dry out of him. You feel me? And we stayed and prayed, and we was believing. We was like, anybody with doubt, no faith, get away from us, man. We was like, nah, man. I said, nah, he ain't coming back. He's gonna leave us at easy and not tell us what's going on. Like, nah, man, you don't just get to leave us at easy, man. You don't get to keep us hanging. I said, nah, you still got to do the work of God, man. You still got to see your children make it, man. You got to see the goodness that's going to happen in life, man. You feel me? And I remember when we buried him. And I was being so strong for my family, man. Being so strong for the folk at our church and just people that knew us. I got up and said my share. And after it was all said and done, man, like I said, I didn't really know how to feel about it. We got in the little funeral Escalade, and we circled him around his church one last time, and then took him over there to the cemetery to get buried. And I remember just like, this is it. It's official. He's gone. He ain't coming back. There is no more. It didn't really register with me yet, but I was just like, bro, your daddy gone. Your daddy dead. Daddy ain't here no more. Later that night, I went right over. Or I don't remember if it was that night or the next day. And went to his spot. He didn't have his tombstone yet, of course, because the grave was still fresh. And I went over to the spot and I was just like, I just started talking. It came to him man to man. I was like, dude, I would have never been the man I am today if it wasn't for you. None of this would have been possible if it wasn't for you. I said, you was the greatest man I ever knew. Still the greatest man that I know. That's why I've been saying, like, man, don't compare me to my daddy, man. Don't think that I'm like him. I will never, ever in a million years be like that man. I don't know another man like him. And just like that, a vessel was gone. God's anointed vessel, your father, gone. And that was it. And we didn't know what to think or what to feel after that. And all that, I still put on my man strength. Walked right into my man calling. And was there for my mama. And she was like, I was worried about being here for y'all because I didn't know how y'all was going to feel. And I said, Mama, forget how we feel. We good. I mean, we hurting. But this is your lifelong partner. This is what y'all train us to do. I want to make sure that you good. And I did everything I can to make sure she was good and stable. We all did. And she went through it, boy. When I tell you, it did a number on her. And it broke my heart. It broke my heart to see her like that. That's the way I don't never want to see her like again. That's what I had to think about when I got shot. And I was like, what if she had to experience that all over again? She got to look at one of her dead loved ones right there on that table. She got to watch them zip you up and take you out. Two good men in her life, gone. That hurt my soul when I thought about that. and it made me want to do better. I would rather it be me any day than any one of my family, man. Any day. But I don't ever want her to experience that type of pain again. It was hard losing the father, man. It was hard losing somebody that you love. And I didn't really know how to deal with it, and this wave of anger came over me, man. I ain't gonna cap, man. I was mad. I was heated. And I asked God, I was like, God, how could you let this happen? How did you allow us to go through that? What went wrong? Why did you do that? Why did you let that happen? I had so many questions I felt like wasn't even answered. And throughout all that, I still said, God is good. God, your name be lifted on high. He's in a place he ain't got to struggle no more, man. He went through it his whole life. He always had health problems, man. He was always stressed out. He was always dealing with something. He never had a good life until he started his family. And that was probably the best thing he's probably ever done in his life. He always said that he didn't care about being a pastor to y'all. He cared about his family. He never got to see his grandbabies, man. He never got to see his kids get married. He never got to see us succeed and do the things that we do. He won't get to see what I'm about to do in the future, man. He won't get to see that. It tears me up, man. It tears me up. I don't really know what else to say about it, man. That was how I lost my daddy. But heaven gained a new angel, man, gained a new soldier. He sacrificed for his, man. That's why I said some people die, you don't know where they go. I know where he is. He worked for his, man. He worked for his. We all just want to get back to that place of dedication and love and consecration that God wants us to be so we can go see him again. So we can be in the place that he's at. I'm glad that, like I said, at least it was from somewhat natural causes. You know, it could have been car accident, could have been gunshot, could have been something crazy. But he went pretty much almost the alternative peaceful route, you feel me, compared to most other deaths. I love my father, man. And like I said, I'm always uphold his name. Definitely naming my son after me so I can keep that legacy going, and hopefully he named his son after him, you feel me? I wish he was still here to see a lot of this that's going on, man. He didn't get to be a part of that. And I had to step up like a man. Like the man that he trained us to be, he raised us to be. Start taking business in my hands, man. Can't run off his grace no more. I had to start building grace for mine. Got to start being strong for mama, man. Being strong for the ministry. Being strong for your family, you feel me? We still heard about it to this day, man. But we've accepted it. And then we have to be in the move on stage. There's so many more things I haven't said about this yet. Maybe I'll make a part 2, or I'll just make a whole entirely new video where y'all can hear me rant some more about it. But this was a story about how I lost my father. Still hard to this day, man, but it just is what it is, bro. I want to thank y'all for tuning into this story. This somewhat deeper than what I thought it was going to be, you know. But yeah, man, I'm glad that y'all took something from this. And I know y'all watch him all the time on YouTube, and y'all part of the ministry, or y'all see us all the time and stuff. And, you know, y'all just truly didn't know what he was like, man, behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? I wish y'all could have experienced it the way that I was able to experience it, you feel me? But, yeah, stay tuned for more videos, man. I'm going to definitely be bringing y'all more stories about him, you know. Like I said, give this video a like, man, a comment. Let me know down below what you want to know. You know, what you took from this, how inspirational this was, how inspirational he was to you, and what you learned from him. You feel me? Like I said, live your best life. I love y'all, man. Christ loves y'all so much more, man. Tell your loved ones that you care about them before it's too late. Don't be selfish and don't be stupid, because you never know. God forbid when it's going to be the last time you talk to him. I love y'all, man. Stay tuned to the next video. Till then, we out this mug, man. Peace.